In this video, I'll uncover a powerful herb that can protect you against viral outbreaks. Every year there's some sort of new virus that hits. Sometimes it's your typical influenza, other times it's a new virus like the coronavirus. But the one thing that we know is that year after year we will get hit with viruses. And when this happens, many people look to different vaccinations, they look to what kind of medication can I get, but many people fail to look back at history and look at the different herbal medicine that you can utilize in order to protect yourself from the onslaught of these new viruses. And so that's why in this video, we're going to talk about a powerful antiviral, one that I'm using personally, I'm using with my family, and I'm also using with patients in order to protect them from the latest viral outbreaks. So stick around to the end of this video. Before we get started, I'm Dr. Zyrowski. Welcome to the channel. If you're new to the channel, it's a pleasure to have you here. Be sure to subscribe, hit the notification bell, and join our notification community, and I'm going to help you excel your health and your life. Let's go ahead and talk about this topic of antivirals, okay? Now, viruses are something that scare a lot of people, and the reason they scare a lot of people is because they're different every time. And the thing is that antibiotics don't work against them, right? If you get a bacterial infection, you can take the antibiotic, it goes away. Viruses are a little bit more tricky, and the reason for it is because they're so unpredictable. When we look at these different viruses out there, I mean, some of them are highly transmissible, like the coronavirus that we're dealing with right now. Some of them are more deadly, like the coronavirus that we're dealing with, and some of them just aren't that bad. So year after year, we find that viruses are all acting a little bit differently. So they're unpredictable, which scares a lot of people, because if we could predict what's going on, it wouldn't be that scary. So the other thing that we have to look at is that some of them can be very deadly. Now, the thing is that if we understand statistics and we understand some of the different herbal medicine that you can utilize in order to prevent these viral outbreaks and also just work as an antiviral naturally in your body, then it's not that scary of stuff. So what we're going to look at is herbal antivirals, how some of them work, some of the history with them, and then also, what the history shows us starting all the way back in 1917 and 1918. Now, let's go ahead and talk about that. 1917, 1918, there was this big flu pandemic. This big flu pandemic was wiping out thousands and thousands of people across the world. It was a big, big deal. One of the things that happened with this flu pandemic is the U.S. government would assign doctors to particular areas in order to take care of groups of people. There was a doctor by the name of Dr. Ernst Krebs who was actually assigned to this particular area that had some Indians in it and also just had some regular people. Now, what was really interesting is that when he looked at the Indians were healthier than everyone else. The average person out there was going and suffering greatly from this big flu pandemic, and the Indians weren't. Many people were dying out there when it came to the average people, and the Indians weren't. One of the things that he did is he went and he studied the Indians. What are they doing? How come they're getting sick and then they're getting better? And then one of the things he found when he was actually working with the Indians and he was trying to figure out what was working for them is that they were using something known as Lomatium dissectum. They were using an oil that has a very powerful molecular structure in order to kill the viruses. They were using this, and they were actually using it in order to treat respiratory illnesses, and it was working very effectively. Dr. Ernst Krebs took this information and he went and took it to help thousands of other people. He was known for saving thousands and thousands of lives in San Francisco and Carson City, Nevada, and he was actually even awarded a humanitarian award for saving so many people's lives and discovering this herb that the Indians had already figured out years and years before and bringing it to so many people. Now, the thing is that was interesting is that this is where, Lomatium dissectum first became very popular. Over the years, it's been studied by major universities. It's been known to be a powerful antifungal, antibacterial, and also antiviral and immune booster in order to help your immune system fight all these different things we mentioned, funguses, bacteria, and viruses. And so it boosts your immune system up. Now, when we look at even closer to where we are now, we look at more recent history, one of the things that happened back in 2002, 2003 is the big SARS coronavirus. If you're old enough to remember that, you remember how a lot of people were really up in arms about this. They were scared of this whole thing. Now, the SARS coronavirus, one of the things that it did is it brought Lomatium dissectum back to the forefront. Every time we have this big viral epidemic or pandemic, one of the things that happens is Lomatium dissectum actually starts getting talked about again. And what's really interesting is that for those out there who understand what this is about and how well it works, they buy up tons of it, and then it's very hard to get it. Many healthcare practitioners are buying up tons of this right now in order to help their patients naturally fight these different viruses that we're facing today, both the influenza and also the coronavirus. Now, It's very interesting because then it becomes a huge shortage. And so, like I said, nobody talks about this stuff. And all of a sudden, I've been working with some of the different suppliers that supply my clinic, and it's like, we can't get our hands on it anymore. And so it's something that you want to make sure that you are getting your hands on if you are able to at this point. Now, the thing is about the Lomatium dissectum is it works well. It's been proven through history to work well. It's been proven through science and research to work well. A lot of people forget about these simple things that we can do. I've been having my family use this stuff for the past month because my daughter keeps bringing home the flu from school. And, I'm working with sick people all the time. And so we utilize these powerful antiviral herbs like Lomatium dissectum in order to actually protect us from the different viruses. And of course, if we were to get it, like you can still get it. It's not a guarantee that you won't get it. If you get it, at least it's working with your immune system to help you fight it. And so what I'll do is I'll put a link in the description to the one that we're using. Go ahead and click on that. If it's available, go ahead and grab yourself some. Give this video a thumbs up. Put in the comment section also below your experience with these different influenzas and what has worked really well for you. And then lastly, check out this video over here on my recent update of the coronavirus. It doesn't matter if it's protecting yourself from the flu, protecting yourself from bacterial infections. We always want to make sure that we have a good functioning immune system.